Welcome back to this week's edition of the Risk Spotlight Operational Risk News Update. My name is Emily Jones, and today I'll be bringing you essential updates and insights from the world of operational risk, drawn from the past week. All information shared here is sourced from the Risk Spotlight portal, the premier forward-looking service dedicated to operational risk content. Let's get started. I have updated you in the previous episodes on the EU AI Act. A significant milestone was achieved last week on this new regulation. The EU AI Act was published on the 12th July in the EU Official Journal. This landmark legislation establishes the world's first comprehensive regulatory framework for AI and sets the stage for the future regulation of AI both within and beyond the EU. The AI Act will enter into force on August 2nd, 2024. The next update is about the Basel Committee's new consultation on managing third-party risk in banking. The committee has just released a document proposing 12 high-level principles to guide banks and supervisors on effectively managing risks from third-party arrangements. This move comes as banks increasingly rely on third parties for services beyond traditional outsourcing, driven by rapid digitalization and innovative approaches in the sector. These principles introduce the concept of a third-party life cycle and emphasize key ideas like criticality and proportionality. They also address important issues such as supply chain risk and concentration risk, while stressing the need for supervisory coordination across sectors and borders. The guidelines are primarily aimed at large international banks, but can benefit smaller banks and authorities worldwide, establishing a common baseline for third-party risk management while allowing flexibility for different jurisdictions. Interestingly, the principles take a technology-neutral stance, making them applicable to emerging trends like AI, machine learning, and blockchain, even though these aren't explicitly mentioned. The Basel Committee is now inviting comments on these proposed principles, with a deadline of October 9th, 2024. The next update is about Europe's new ESG reporting requirements and how companies are expected to handle them. The European Securities and Markets Authority has made it clear that while they understand the challenges companies face with the new European sustainability reporting standards, they're not going to let anyone off the hook for poor disclosures. These new standards require companies to report on hundreds of environmental, social, and governance metrics, covering everything from climate transition plans to gender pay gaps. It's all part of the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, a key piece of the EU's strategy to green its economy, with about 50,000 companies expected to comply once it's fully rolled out. There's been some pushback from companies about the complexity and scope of these requirements. And they did win a few concessions last year, like being able to decide which metrics are important enough to report on. But ESMA's not letting up on the pressure. They're telling companies they need to be thorough in explaining how they make these decisions, especially when it comes to their value chains. ESMA's made it clear that a lack of data isn't a good enough reason to skip reporting on material information, and they're warning companies to be ready to report in full once the transition period is over. So, while there's some understanding of the learning curve, ESMA's message is clear. Get your ESG reporting act together, and fast. The next update is about a recent survey titled Chartis Market View, ESG and Climate Risk Survey. The survey highlights that over 72% of global financial institutions are planning to invest heavily in ESG technology, with many looking to spend up to $500,000 or more. These investments are aimed at improving climate risk solutions, with a focus on emissions data, climate risk modeling, and regulatory reporting tools. The survey, which involved 77 ESG and climate risk practitioners from institutions managing assets between $1 billion and $500 billion, highlighted some interesting challenges. For instance, 52% of respondents cited regulatory compliance as their biggest ESG hurdle, while 67% struggled with meeting regulatory stress testing expectations for climate risk. Looking ahead, it seems that most firms are reviewing their ESG strategies quarterly and are set to focus their future investments on ESG data and scoring products, governance, risk management and compliance solutions, and regulatory reporting tools. The survey covered a wide range of financial institutions across North America, Europe, APAC, and the MENA region. Interestingly, North American and European institutions are more likely to spend over $500,000 annually on ESG initiatives. However, the lack of uniformity in ESG and climate risk reporting standards across different countries and regions is creating challenges for multinational corporations trying to maintain consistent reporting. The next update is about a warning from ICICI Bank, India's second largest bank, regarding extortion scams targeting their customers. These scams involve cybercriminals sending threatening messages demanding payment in exchange for not releasing sensitive or embarrassing information. The bank is educating customers via email about how these scams typically start with an email claiming the sender has compromising information, like private photos or personal data, and threatening to share it unless a payment is made. The goal is to scare recipients into paying, even if there's no actual compromising information. While this update focuses on ICICI Bank, it's crucial for all banks to be prepared as cybercriminals can use these methods anywhere. The next update is about Australia's warning over Chinese state-backed hackers. Australia's Cyber Intelligence Agency has raised an alarm about the increasing threat from Chinese hackers, specifically calling out the APT-40 group. This group, linked to China's Ministry of State Security, has been actively targeting Australian networks and those in the region. They exploit old, forgotten devices to gain access to sensitive systems. The warning comes amidst a series of major cyber attacks in Australia, including one that affected ports handling 40% of the country's freight trade, and others that compromised data of millions of customers from health insurers and telecom companies. A recent research from Mandiant also highlighted that NATO countries are experiencing a surge in cyber attacks from nations opposed to the alliance. These attacks are driven by global conflicts, with Russia's invasion of Ukraine being a key factor. State-sponsored attack teams are ramping up their efforts in espionage, disinformation, and large-scale sabotage. China is also stepping up its espionage activities, targeting Western nations for intel and trade secrets. But it's not just nation-states causing trouble. Criminal groups are also on the rise, with ransomware attacks becoming more severe, especially in healthcare and government services. Now let me provide a quick update on key operational risk loss events that were reported in the media last week. First off, regulatory fines and settlements have been prominent. TD Bank's chief compliance officer has departed amid ongoing anti-money laundering efforts, signaling internal challenges in compliance. Luxembourg's financial regulator has fined BGL BNP Paribas €3 million, and HSBC is facing a $3 million fine over incentive offers related to the MPF scheme. Moreover, Citigroup has been fined a substantial $136 million by federal regulators for taking too long to address internal control issues. In cybersecurity news, several significant breaches have come to light. Twilio experienced a breach due to an unsecured API endpoint, exposing 33 million Authy phone numbers. Evolve disclosed that hackers stole data of 7.6 million individuals, and Infosys McCamish, serving Principal Life Insurance, reported a massive data breach affecting their customers. Kovac Financial also notified consumers of a third-party data breach, leaking Social Security numbers. Finally, fraudulent activities and insider trading have been notable this week. UFG Bank is under investigation for an employee's alleged involvement in insider trading, and the founder of Archegos Capital has been convicted in a securities fraud scheme. Fifth Third Bank faces a $20 million fine over fake accounts and auto insurance issues, drawing parallels to previous banking scandals. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour of last week's operational risk landscape. If you want to read more about the topics I have covered and review additional content on emerging operational risk topics, then please log into the RiskSpotlight portal if you are a subscriber, or go to RiskSpotlight.com to sign up for a free trial. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe and keep those risks in check.